So I know you remember how everybody was excited when Black Panther came out, especially the black community. Well, that's the same excitement I feel knowing that they used a Polynesian person for Aquaman because he looks more like me. So we already got to see a little bit of Aquaman in DC's Injustice movie, but in this movie we get his first standalone film, and we get to get the backstory of Arthur Curry, and we get to understand that he's the half-blood Atlantean who doesn't really want to claim the throne, which is his by birthright, but based upon some things that's happening back in Atlantis, he's kind of forced into the role, and we get to see his journey of him actually becoming Aquaman. Now, as I said, Jason Momoa plays Aquaman, and honestly, I was surprised. I have never really just been wowed by his acting skills. I'm not saying he's a terrible actor. I'm not saying that by no means at all. But I've never seen, I can't actually think off the top of my head of a role where I was like, wow, he killed that. But in Aquaman, he really did up his standard because he showed some talent and some range. Now, granted, this movie was extremely 80s comic book like with all the yelling and flexing of the muscle. It kind of reminded me of the old Batman from the 60s where he used to like grab his cape and like fly around, and they used to have like the words like kaboom pop up on the screen, and it kind of gave me that feel. But all that aside, I really enjoyed his performance as Aquaman. Mira was played by Amber Heard, and I really liked her also. She kind of had like this water bending ability, kind of made me think about the Avatar, and it was pretty cool, and she was pretty badass, and she was fine. So I really enjoyed her in this movie too. Plus she did some pretty good acting. Aquaman's evil half-brother, the Ocean Master, is played by Patrick Wilson, and he's kind of one of those guys that's like, I feel like he's just like stuck to one role. It's like every movie you see him in, he's playing someone evil. And I feel like that's the only role he can really excel at, because in this movie he's the evil brother, and you just get that little creepy, sideways, you got a hidden agenda vibe from him. So I guess for the sake of the role, he did a good job as the Ocean Master also. Now, while we're on the side of acting, one of the performances that I was extremely disappointed in was Black Manta. I mean, as far as the Aquaman goes, he's one of my favorite characters. He's dark. He has the deep, menacing voice. He has the cool gadgets and stuff. And every time he shows up, he's about this smoke. So I've always been a fan of him. And in this movie, like I said, with the 80s comic book feel, they really made him have the dramatic, over-the-top, extra flair one-liners and stuff like that, and like the over-dramatic screams and grunts when something happened. Like, you know, it was kind of like what was Hercules' nemesis name? He'd be like, I'll get you next time, Hercules. That's what it reminded me of. And I just was really disappointed in that. But the action scene that they had with him was pretty dope, so I guess it kind of saved it. Basically what I'm saying, if they do a Black Manta movie, don't cast that guy as just pick somebody else. So the pacing on this movie is a little tough to describe, because when there's fight scenes and action and stuff like that going on, the movie is really intense and you're really locked to the screen. But then it's like that the action is like so good that some of the scenes after seem to take a pretty big dip, and it kind of makes you realize that, hey, this movie is a little bit longer than what I expected. So the pacing is up and down. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great. Now granted, I did say that some of the other scenes dip off a little bit. That's just because the action is so phenomenal. Like, the fight scenes are so good, and it's like you get to see the stuff like the scene that they showed in the trailer where he tried to hit him with the trident underwater, and you got to see the trident slicing through the water. Like, it's just super intense, and it's just really good. So it makes everything that follows seem a little bit slower than what it is. So maybe I'm just being biased because I was too into the action. Visually, I think the movie was phenomenal. I felt like when they showed Atlantis, like the first time you get to see Atlantis, I feel like I was on the Avatar world, and I had like jumped in their ocean and went underwater. That's how colorful and bright and vibrant it was, and I just feel like that's what it looked like up under the Avatar's ocean. I could be totally wrong. So to summarize, Aquaman was a good time. It had good acting, amazing fight scenes, the visuals were phenomenal, and the pacing of the movie was pretty good. So with all that being said, I gotta give Aquaman movie magic must see. So for the comment combo today, I want y'all to let me know what y'all thought about the over-the-top dramatics in this movie. Did you like it or did you hate it? Because some of the people I asked loved it, some of the people like myself hated it. Whatever you thought, comment below and let me know. Now, as always, if you liked this video and you thought it rocked, like, comment, and subscribe to see more from me, Mike Proc. Later.